Understanding the anterior pituitary, the master controller of your hormones. Let me take you on a journey to discover one of the tiniest yet most powerful parts of your body, the anterior pituitary. You may not have heard of it before, but trust me, this little gland has its hands in just about everything happening in your body. So buckle up, because once you know how important it is, you'll never underestimate your hormones again. The anterior pituitary, also called adenohypophysis. First things first, let's break down what this mysterious anterior pituitary is. Think of it as the boss of all your other glands. It's like the CEO of your body's hormone company, giving orders left and right to make sure everything runs smoothly. This tiny pea-sized gland sits at the base of your brain, just behind the bridge of your nose, and it's part of your endocrine system. The system that produces and releases hormones. While it might be small, it's busy managing some of the most important processes in your body, from growth to metabolism, stress response, and even reproduction. Which hormones does the anterior pituitary control? The anterior pituitary might be small, but it sure has a big job. It produces and releases 6 key hormones. These hormones are like little messengers that tell other parts of your body what to do. Let's break them down. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, and ACTH. This hormone tells your adrenal glands to release cortisol, the infamous stress hormone. It's what helps you deal with stressful situations, like when your boss suddenly throws a last-minute project your way. Follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH. In women, this hormone prepares eggs for ovulation, while in men, it stimulates sperm production. It's one of the reasons why, ladies, you have that monthly cycle. Luteinizing hormone, LH. This one's a multitasker. In women, it helps release eggs from the ovaries and produce progesterone. In men, it stimulates testosterone production, which is why your partner's facial hair might come in thicker than yours. Human growth hormone, HGH. Think of this as your body's personal growth cheerleader. It helps kids grow taller and stronger, and even in adults, it keeps your muscles and bones healthy. Who knew hormones had such a big impact on how you grow? Prolactin. This hormone is essential for new mothers because it stimulates breast milk production, but it also affects fertility and sexual function, making it a bit of a multitasker in hormone land. Thyroid-stimulating hormone, TSH. This one tells your thyroid gland to get to work. Your thyroid controls your metabolism, so if you've ever wondered why some people can eat a huge pizza and not gain weight, thank TSH and their fast metabolism. How does the anterior pituitary communicate? Now, the anterior pituitary doesn't work alone. It's got a best buddy, the hypothalamus. Imagine the hypothalamus as the team manager, making sure the pituitary is doing its job. It sends out orders like a coach, telling the anterior pituitary when to get certain hormones moving. The hypothalamus does this by sending releasing hormones that either speed up or slow down the pituitary's work. It's kind of like when your friend texts you to remind you to grab coffee on your way over. You wouldn't know what to do without that message. Wondering where this important gland is hanging out? Well, your pituitary gland is nestled right at the base of your brain, sitting snugly in a little chamber in your skull called the sella turcica. It's actually in 2 parts, the anterior pituitary, our star of the show, and the posterior pituitary. Think of them as the dynamic duo of hormone control. What happens when the anterior pituitary misbehaves? Here's where things get tricky. If your anterior pituitary gets a little lazy or too busy, it can cause health problems. Let's break it down. 1. Hypopituitarism. This happens when your anterior pituitary doesn't produce enough hormones. It can lead to conditions like adrenal insufficiency, where you don't make enough cortisol, growth hormone deficiency, which can stunt growth in kids, and even hypothyroidism, where your thyroid doesn't work well. Hyperpituitarism. On the flip side, this happens when your anterior pituitary works too hard and produces too many hormones. It can cause issues like acromegaly, where your bones grow in odd ways, or Cushing's disease, where your body produces too much cortisol, leading to weight gain and fatigue. Let's talk about pituitary tumors. But don't worry. Most of the time, when people hear the word tumor, they panic. But pituitary tumors, known as adenomas, are typically benign, meaning they're non-cancerous. Still, these little growths can cause problems because they may interfere with the pituitary's hormone production. Some adenomas can cause your pituitary to pump out too many hormones, while others might make it slack off. For example, if you have a prolactinoma, it might cause your anterior pituitary to produce too much prolactin. And while prolactin is important for milk production, too much of it can mess with your menstrual cycle or lead to infertility in women. Now that we've covered what can go wrong, let's talk about how to keep your pituitary gland in tip-top shape. The truth is, there's not much you can do to exercise your pituitary, but you can protect it by taking care of your overall health. One of the most important things you can do? Protect your head. Head injuries can damage your pituitary gland, which could lead to hormone imbalances. So, wear that seatbelt, put on your helmet when biking, and avoid high-risk activities without the right gear. Your anterior pituitary will thank you. A day in the life of your hormones. Imagine this. You've had a super stressful day at work. Your boss was breathing down your neck, and you had back-to-back meetings. By the time you get home, you're exhausted. What's going on inside your body during this time? Well, your hypothalamus sensed the stress and told your anterior pituitary to release some ACTH hormones. ACTH then knocked on the door of your adrenal glands and said, "Hey, we need more cortisol." Cortisol flooded your system to help you handle the stress, giving you that little jolt of energy to power through. But too much of this, and you're left feeling drained and wiped out. Your body needs balance, and that's where these hormones come in. So, next time you're feeling stressed, or tired, or like your metabolism just won't cooperate, remember, your anterior pituitary is working hard behind the scenes, making sure your hormones are doing their jobs. Your anterior pituitary might be tiny, but it's the real MVP of your endocrine system. From controlling growth to managing stress and keeping your metabolism humming, it's always busy, making sure your body runs like a well-oiled machine. So give it some love by taking care of your overall health, protecting your noggin, and remembering that even though you can't see them, your hormones are always hard at work.